The movie kicks off on the outskirts of a state called Kuwa in a small community known as Nanji, where we see workers digging and searching for gemstones. As we come to understand, the community is vastly blessed with it. A man finds a diamond stone and gets celebrated for his find. He knew his life was going to change and he could finally get to see his little daughter through medical school. That is just what one stone could do. However, the resources in this community has been the envy of many. For a stone like the one found, people are ready to kill, even if the casualties get to 200. The diamond finder gets killed but dies protecting his little one. This is a massacre, and the perpetrator is none other than Sanusi, the incumbent governor who is about to run for re-election. He wants ownership of the mining land but couldn't until he is re-elected. His best bet is to use the bandits led by Sambisa to scare them, more like kill people until they stay away from the lands. However, his re-election is facing great opposition from a two-time contender, which happens to be the person of Nuhu Pula. He has great plans for the state and is ready to see them through with his wife Binta, who is also his campaign manager. She craves victory and doesn't care about the means. So with that, you know she's smart, ambitious and a strategic woman. She saw the massacre as an avenue for her husband to win points, not minding if it made him look like a vulture. At least, it's better than the careless governor who hasn't visited the place. Well, he could care less because he already had the support of the emir and the chief of Nanji community who refused to receive Nuhu. Nuhu gets to understand, after speaking with the child and wife of the diamond founder, that the gemstone in the land might be the reason for the killings and it might have nothing to do with their elections, and the chief might just be aware, hence his refusal to see them. We are then introduced to Alicia Kama. Her family owns Kama Aviation and she is the CEO. She had worked tirelessly to be where she is and had a strong motto she abides by, which is never revealing their limitation to their clients. So, when the emir needed a jet, she quickly made provision even when they were short on airplanes. She's in a romantic relationship with Alhaji Buba Kuda, a prominent member of the royal family and owner of BK Oil Company. You should have seen the way he tested her while she gave her presentation earlier, which will definitely extend to something steamy later in the night if she doesn't come with her phone. Alicia and her boyfriend are also friends with the Bolas. While she met Binta for tea or something, she revealed the emir would be flying with them. This piece of information interests Binta because of the troubles they are facing with the man. That night, Alhaji Buba planned on proposing to Alicia and he went all out to make it memorable. But you know what she failed to forget? Her phone. She gets informed that her plane carrying the emir had crashed, killing him and other 11 people on board. For some reason, there is talk about his immediate successor and the governor had his eyes on Hamza, the late emir's brother. It's either him or Buba, who isn't really political. Nuhu, who was on the condolence visit, opposes the governor, as he thinks they should take their time with the appointment. While they seem to have lost focus on what is important, Hamza reminds them someone had to be held responsible for the death of the emir, and that person is Alicia. Buba wouldn't let the royal family take her as a scapegoat and proposed she marry him to shield her from their wrath. Due to his ill timing, Alicia saw it as a business arrangement. Meanwhile, after the night at the royal palace, the governor, who wants to stay unchallenged, sent his bandits to assassinate Nuhu at his fundraising, but the ASP and her team assigned to him diffused them and their bombs. But like a Batman, he still had ammunition in his belt. A mystery man called Diku, who Sambisa had helped fake his death, was their only bet to bring Nuhu down, since the man sought revenge against Binta and Nuhu for ruining his life. He was going to do it, but on the condition that he negotiates terms with the governor face to face. Meanwhile, a fraction of the royal family led by Hamza staged a protest at Kama Aviation, seeking justice, even assaulting their mediator. While all that is going on, Nuhu lives with Miriam, the ASP, for a meeting, and Binta, being a smart woman, deduces he's hiding something from her. She could connect it from the different perfumes she perceived on him and the secret calls he gets. And truly, the man is hiding something from her. He plans on taking a second wife as it is his right, but doesn't want Binta distracted. Hence, his secrecy. But he revealed it to Miriam as there isn't a way he could hide it from her because in reality, there wasn't any serious meeting, just a visit to Alhaji Buba, after which his mistress. The protest at Kama Aviation turned chaotic when Alisha decided to speak with the protesters and ultimately gets saved by Buba, who sends his cousin away. Nuhu and Miriam got back and Binta inquired about their whereabouts from her. Miriam, being a single mother to a rebellious teenage son, understood Binta's plight since her own divorce was due to infidelity, but remained steadfast to her job even when Binta asked her to spy on her husband. How else would Buba convince Alisha to marry him? There are calls for him to be the next emir, and if he is, Alisha would be untouchable. Problem solved. However, the governor and his choice, Hamza, are not slacking either. That position would be theirs even if it results in bribing the kingmakers, which a spy captures on his camera before being caught. But the good thing is, he gave them a wrong phone which they destroyed before letting him go. Meanwhile, Dikko gets to meet the governor and demands 18% of the shares from the gemstones in Nanji, leaving the governor with no choice but to agree. However, he is smart enough to know that the governor couldn't be trusted and the safety of his wife and unborn child might not be guaranteed. Binta confronts her husband with her suspicions, but of course, he claims it's his right. Since they are claiming rights to things, she asserts the governorship position is as much hers as it is his because she has scraped deep, far from redemption when she killed the emir for it. Yes, she was the one who brought the plane down. I knew she was ambitious, but now I think she's psychotic. Here is why. When she was young, her father got run over and killed by the emir, Dikko and Nuhu, who were all friends. She sought revenge but only managed to kill Dikko. As we know now, that failed, and when he got to Nuhu, she fell in love instead with him. If she can love the man who killed her father, we can only imagine how far she would go for that same man. If Nuhu took nothing from this revelation, at least it became clear to him that Amal, his mistress, had to go for her own protection. Alisha, still trying to get to the bottom of the plane crash, hired an aviation accident investigator named Boston Bobby Brown, who flew in from Amsterdam. Speaking of sorting things out, Miriam isn't having a fun time with her troubled son, who just seeks her attention since she is too tied up at work. I know I'm not emphasizing this enough, but he did do a lot to stress this woman, coupled with the fact that DSS just kicked her off the terrorist case after a survivor woke up, which is probably Sanusi's doing. Like his wife's revelation wasn't enough, Nuhu got another shocker when Dikko called him for a meet-up. Revealing he's alive, he blackmails Nuhu for his attempted assassination unless he withdraws from the governorship race within the week. With his part done, Dikko thought he could get the contract of their agreement signed, but Sanusi has other plans to delay it, which was the hint Dikko needed to know he had to run. Like a house of cards, Binta's world was crashing down. Now, this is the gist. She and Nafisa, Dikko's wife, conspired to kill Dikko, but she warned Dikko, saving his life. Afterwards, she went on to marry him, and now she has ganged up with him to bring Binta and Nuhu down. Just like Binta, she too is smart and cunning. She denies ever knowing Dikko was alive, but Binta smells lies and manipulates Miriam into tracking her number for her. Nuhu accepts Dikko's terms to step down, but within himself, he still wanted to do the little good he could for the Nanji community. So, he proposes to Buba that they buy the mines, and with his hastened coronation as emir, it would be possible before Sanusi gets his hands on it. Dikko, who was trying to elope with his pregnant wife before Sanusi gets to them, had to leave her when she went into labor. The cab driver helps drop her at the hospital, and the nurses put a call to Binta since she was the last received call on the woman's phone. This was an opportunity that she capitalized on perfectly. She claimed to be Nafisa's sister, and after her child was born, she tricked the nurses into releasing them to her while the woman was heavily sedated. Nuhu, who was trying to make his mistress see reasons why she had to leave him, after providing her with enough money, ended up killing her unintentionally. Miriam, who had accompanied him, said something had gone wrong, from Nuhu's change in behavior to the bloodstain on his sleeve. Meanwhile, the video of Hamza bribing the kingmakers got leaked, but he found a way to turn it around by making the kingmaker go on radio and television, claiming the money was from Buba to facilitate his emir aspiration. Now, Nuhu had bloodstain on his hands and is more or less like his wife. I can't say any more unsettling feeling than this. Anyway, she assaults him, Miriam, which troubled him was his alibi.
What about Dikko?
Has been handled. You and I don't need to worry about him anymore.
After a day or so, Diko went to the hospital but was informed of his wife's discharge and tried reaching her on the phone. Now, he realized who had her and his baby, and to get them back, he must give Binta all the evidence he had on her before the day ends. In the meantime, Miriam is made aware of Amal's passing and informs her superior of her suspicion of Nuhu, but he dismisses it due to a lack of evidence. The lies propagated against Bula had a strong damaging effect, as none of the kingmakers would have him, not even the chief of Nanji village. He managed to track the diamond finders family and promised to keep Nuhu's promise to them. Diko, having nowhere to go, went back home to his father, a retired general called Umar Loko, who had disowned him. He confesses everything from his alleged death to the kidnap of his family and seeks help with the man's connection to get them back. Miriam, who really suspects Nuhu, places her phone to record him and Binta's conversation when she couldn't get the truth out of him, and that worked like a charm. Meanwhile, Buba, who was being taken to the massacre site, got attacked by Sanusi's bandits after being aware of his presence. He managed to escape, but the village met a less favorable fate. Even the chief was killed gruesomely. General agreed to help his son and invited the commissioner of police, but they could only go after Binta to get Diko's family back, as the governor is far from their reach. This means Diko would meet with Binta while wearing a wire. Meanwhile, after listening to the record, it was confirmed to Miriam that Nuhu killed Amal and also got to know about Binta's meeting with Diko and tailed her to the guest house where the kidnapped family were being held. Now, this is where things start getting interesting. While Diko and Binta went on about who did what to who, Miriam was busy taking down men and saving the mother and child. Unfortunately, Nafisa got shot and killed. Reinforcement came and Binta, trying to prove that Diko's family was okay, gave him the phone, but Miriam answered and informed him otherwise.
Where are you? What are you waiting for? Arrest her!
A shootout ensued and Binta got apprehended, but Diko managed to escape and got shot in the process. While all that is going on, Buba brought the mother and child home to shelter them, after which he found the kingmaker who tarnished his image and made him tell the truth to the media. Alicia and Bosti were also making progress in their investigations, which led them to a mystery man who compromised the fuel of the jet that day, proving that the emir was killed. After tracing the payments made to the man, it was revealed the payment was initiated from PK Oils, her boyfriend's company. While she tried to wrap her head around everything, Boston consoled her, and while at it, Buba sees them, but leaves. Now Binta is in custody. Her husband got brought in too, but Miriam couldn't get anything from either of them, and soon they were let go. It's revealed that they have powerful friends or people who have a stake in their affairs. The general meets with Governor Sanusi since they go way back, plus they have some prospective projects, but this isn't an ordinary visit. You see that Kolano Sanusi is mounting on? Well, we'll come back to it. Meanwhile, on their drive back, Nuhu realized he didn't know anything and he's just a pawn in a bigger game. Sanusi, who thought things were finally in his favor, had one of his men try to take out Sambisa but ended up being killed instead. Now back to that sweet cola note. The general had it poisoned before giving it to Sanusi because he broke the bond of loyalty by going after his son. His death was ruled as a heart attack. Alicia confronts Buba with what she knew. Unable to deny any of it, he reveals the truth. Now, this is quite long, but here it is. The emir and Sanusi wanted to keep the resources in Naji to themselves, and some higher ups in the presidency wouldn't have it. So, they had Buba eliminate the emir, and the part Binta played was the information of his travel plans she got from Alicia. Buba beckons her to join him. He even forgave her for her little lapses with Boston, but she refused, putting him in a tight corner. And Sambisa, who now works for him, puts her in her place next to the mother and child, who have now come to the realization that they have been kidnapped. Now, Sanusi is out of the picture. The only person eyeing the Nanjing land is Diko, but Buba wants to save him for later while he goes after Boston. While plans are being put in place, he reveals to Nuhu most of the truth. How he had known about the Nanjing land and the gemstones, Binta working for him and the part he played in the emir's death. This further confirms Nuhu's fears that he had been a pawn in a chess game and him being a governor is merely a title, while the phrase in higher places call the shots in Kowa. In the meantime, Miriam is suspended for her actions that led to Nafisa's death. With this, She knew she wasn't coming back to the police. However, this isn't to say the police is done with her. Boston comes to her with Alicia's disappearance and the circumstances that led to it. But like she said, she was done with the police. Now she could go home and have that mother and son quality bonding moment. That's really good for her, but I can't say the same for Boston, whom Sambisa held at gunpoint in his apartment. He needed all the evidence Boston had against Buba, and in an opportune time, Boston managed to hit the gun off him. They got in a fight which Boston emerged victorious. He shoots Sambisa in the leg for good measures. He calls Miriam for help after getting her number through, let's just say he has his means. However, she refused, but after her son sensed the urgency of it, he begs her to go. They got enough confession from Sambisa and who had sent him. Then he leads them on a rescue mission to save Alicia. Meanwhile, she tried to save herself and the other captives, but that went south quickly and the perverted guard wanted to make utmost use of the opportunity, but in the nick of time, Miriam and Boston saved them, killing the guard and Sambisa when they wouldn't stay down. Police got to the scene and Buba managed to twist it all as a bandit attack, but the CCTV footage shows Miriam doing the justice, but as a rogue agent, and the police wants her more or less dead or alive. In the meantime, Alicia took them to one of her untraceable guest houses while they sought a next move. However, the police has Miriam's son, as she got to know when she tried to reach him, so they had to fast-track their plans. It was now the election day and Nubu was unopposed at the polls. Even still, he was unsettled as recent event has shown he's merely a failure. Alicia enacted her plans by first giving the recordings of Sambisa's confessions to Hamza, where he revealed Buba killed the emir, which he passed on to the kingmakers. Miriam was taken in, but her release wouldn't take long. Alicia went on live TV and revealed the whole conspiracy and the gemstone deposit everybody is trying to hide and keep for themselves, and the massacre they caused while at it. There is nowhere to hide. This no one knew and wouldn't let his conscience eat at him anymore. So he affirms to the allegations, which of course left his supporters disappointed. Miriam got released and what comes next is a massive arrest of everyone involved. Of course, starting with Binta. And at times like this, you need high-ranking friends like General Luku.